What if the person you think you are is just a fraction of who you truly are? What if years of conditioning and surviving in a challenging world have left you clinging to strategies and beliefs that mask your truest nature? I'm Catherine Duca, psychotherapist and self-esteem coach, and you're listening to Who Do You Think You Are? A show that looks beneath our psychological masks and uncovers our profoundly messy, beautiful, brilliant, tender-hearted essence. Join me as we go in search of the hidden power of our true selves. I'm so glad you're here.
And I am so glad you're here. Welcome. Welcome to Who Do You Think You Are? A podcast that teaches you how to have the highest regard for yourself, how to live from a place of self-respect and self-love, and how to make yourself a priority in your own life. Meet me here each week for curated tips and strategies designed to help you drop your psychological masks, connect with your truest essence, and simply live life more easily. Because we know that when we do approach life in this way, we naturally have more generosity, more room, and more love for one another. And that could not be truer than these days. Welcome, friends. Welcome to February 9th. How are you? How are you tonight? I'm talking to you. Are you doing okay? These past couple of weeks, we have seen nationally and globally quite a lot of disheartening events, natural disasters, man-made disasters. We've seen incalculable inhumanity, really heavy things. And if you've been listening these past few weeks, you know that one of the things we've been talking about is navigating these very choppy waters together, navigating by going in and out of intensely listening to what's happening in the news, giving ourselves a rest, and then coming back out, listening to more, going back in and resting if need be. We're talking about sharing how you feel with one another, and I deeply hope that this show is a safe place to come to each week, to speak your truth, to be who you truly are. This is a no pretense zone here on Who Do You Think You Are? But tonight we have a bit of levity because, as you probably know, tonight is Super Bowl Sunday. I imagine the game is still going on. In fact, I think that sound you hear is the sound of lip smacking buffalo wings and, interesting dips and chili and all that sort of thing. Millions of people are having a great time tonight. And I have in mind for us sort of a different game plan, if you will, but it is Super Bowl inspired. I'll tell you that. So those of you who may have received my newsletter this morning, it was entitled Wide Receiver. Wide receiver. Why wide receiver? That's a hard word to say 3 times, by the way. Try it. Wide receiver. I came across the term and I looked into it and I explored what a wide receiver does. As anyone who watches the Super Bowl knows, every single player is integral to the success of the team. But there are 2 players in particular who I think are key to the overall performance and chance of winning the game. And those 2 players are the quarterback and the wide receiver. And as you may know, the quarterback is the player who touches the ball on, I think, every play. And the quarterback determines where to place the ball and to whom to pass the ball. But then there has to be someone on the receiving end, because the whole game and all the hoopla, when you boil it down, is really just a, sequence of one player throwing and one player catching. Basically, one player passes, one player receives the pass, and the wide receiver is a key player. And that player, as I understand it, is positioned near the sidelines, not in the middle of the field where all the other players are kind of bunched up. So the wide receiver goes wide, and I guess goes deep or long. This is the extent of my expertise with football, but it's key, because if the pass is not completed, what happens? The play doesn't mean anything. No yardage is gained, and each team only gets a few tries before the other team gets the ball. So I was inspired to think about receiving. What does it mean to receive? So I hope by the end of this time together, each of us will sort of channel our own inner wide receiver, and we will humbly but unapologetically tune in to all the abundance that is around us amidst the things I talked about before, the hard things. There is abundance all around us, I believe. There is love all around us. There is kindness all around us. If we look for it. If we look for it. So, as we talk about the wide receiver, I want to begin by saying that every interaction of which we are a part, including you and me right now, you and I are in this interaction. You might think I'm giving and you're receiving, but actually your presence, and especially if you happen to be in the chat and you contribute or ask a question, you are giving back to me. But even if you don't actively participate, just your presence, just your listening, just your willingness to be open to what I have to offer tonight is receiving. And in doing so, you are giving back to me. And I, in turn, have more from which to draw. And perhaps I give a little more and your presence receives it and the vibration comes back to me. And so we have this beautiful circulation of attention and intention and input. So I wanted to zoom in more deeply on the art of receiving. Givers get all the press, I think. We've all heard the saying, which I now understand is really a biblical proverb. I believe in the King James Version. It is better to give than to receive. So givers get all the press. Why is that? Why is it easier to give? Well, it's easier to give, I think, because givers tend to be more in control. Givers know what's going to happen next. Givers know when they're going to give. They know when they're going to present you with a gift or a helping hand or a compliment or support or feedback, something like that. So givers know what's going to happen next. In fact, I've heard people say that giving actually takes people, and I think this is a good thing, takes people outside of themselves. And so they can actually de-stress by giving to other people. Giving to other people. Because we get beyond our own cares and woes. We get outside of our rumination and we turn our attention to someone else. So in giving, we help ourselves calm down sometimes. But What is it like for the receiver? Well, the way the giver feels prepared to give, the receiver can feel somewhat unprepared to receive. Receivers, did I say that properly? Receivers don't know what's coming next. So receivers may experience the giver's gift, possibly, not all the time, but possibly as a surprise. You know, if you've ever thrown a surprise party for someone or had a surprise party thrown for you, you know that they are two vastly different experiences. When you're throwing a surprise party, it's excitement, it's giddiness. You can't wait to see the expression on the person's face when they walk in the door. You take a photo of them and they're surprised, they're shocked. And, that can feel nice, that can feel entertaining, that can feel fun, that can feel loving, actually. But looking at it from the receiver's point of view, it can feel a little vulnerable. It can feel a little caught off guard. One can feel caught off guard. The receiver can feel even under some unstated pressure to look surprised or look appreciative. Sometimes in the back of the receiver's mind, there's a little concern about, will I be able to reciprocate? If someone offers support or a helping hand, will I be able to return the favor? Do I have it in me? Will I know when to give? So givers, I think, overall have an easier time of it. But when I think about being a wide receiver, I think about the importance of receiving and the elegance, frankly, of receiving. When we give someone something, imagine a flower, for example, and we extend our arm and we hand someone a flower. Imagine if they put their hands behind their back or they shake their head and they don't accept it. What happens then? How does the giver experience that moment? It's unsatisfying, don't you think? It's unsatisfying for the giver, and the receiver goes without what may have been a very lovely gift. So receivers play an integral part in life. Receivers allow the giver to complete the pass. Receivers welcome, accept, receive, embrace. Aren't these lovely terms when you think about them? The elegance of the completed pass, the elegance of the moment of connection. This is what is in the hands of the receiver. So it got me thinking about how we might go about cultivating the art of receiving in our own lives. Well, I think we can practice, and maybe we'll do this week, and you'll come back next time and tell me about it. We can practice saying yes. When someone offers help, a gesture, a gift, we can practice saying yes without hesitation and without apology. I used to have a difficult time with this, actually. I thought of myself as a giver. I liked that identity. I thought a long time ago, I thought that I didn't really need anything. I really did. I thought I didn't need anything. I mean, I thought I liked people, but I didn't really. Need was not an easy feeling for me. Need opened me up to possible rejection. I'm sure that has something to do with something in my history. But the point is that I was kind of insulated or cocooned within this space of, I've got it, within this space of competence. I've got it. If you need something, I can help you out, but I really don't need very much. Wow, I wish I could go back to everyone in my life at that time and say, ooh, I got that backwards. I'm sorry. I wish I had let you give to me, whatever it was. Because I closed people out and I closed myself in. And yes, it might have been safer, but I think it was lonelier. So I encourage you to give some consideration to that. Do you live within a bubble of competence, within a space of, I got it, I'll handle it, all good? Because it is not an indictment on your competence if you accept help. It is you opening a door to another person. It's you allowing yourself a connection. So in your receiving, you become a giver. Let go of guilt or embarrassment. It's not a sign of weakness or dependency, as I thought at an earlier time. It's a sign of self-assurance and self-awareness. It's an understanding that none of us is an island. And it asks us to be aware of the walls we have erected over time to maintain safety. And it is safe behind those walls because no one can get to us, but therein lies part of the challenge. No one can get to us. And that doesn't only, prevent harshness from getting through, it prevents love from getting through. And to take it one step beyond that, it puts us in a position where we're walking around not allowing ourselves to have what we want deep down. The thing we most desire, connection and love, is the very thing we unwittingly, because of our cocoon, sacrifice. So let us think about being a better receiver. Let's go wide on this. Let's not deprive ourselves or one another of the chance to complete the path of love, of kindness, of concern. And of course, let's express gratitude when something does come our way. The giver, most likely, is not expecting anything, but a thank you, hearing a thank you, lets the giver know that the path was completed. And as the ball advances down the yardage is gained and the ball goes closer to the goal post. That's an analogy to advancing the intimacy of one another. If it's someone you know, yes, intimacy is cultivated with giving and receiving. If it's a stranger, a cashier, a teller, anyone who crosses your path, you deposit a momentary bit of appreciation in that person's account. So if someone smiles at you, acknowledge it. It goes into their account. If someone isn't smiling at you and you maintain eye contact for a second and say something, have a nice day, and mean it, you're depositing in both of your accounts. Go wide on the receiving. Let the person know their intangible but meaningful pass was received. So, with that, I see there's some comments in the chat. Janine, welcome, Janine. Janine, I think, is speaking to Bill and saying dedication for still Bill. How's that, Bill? Oh, Bill, thank you. Kathy helped me change my entire life 20 years ago. Bill, you have a story to tell. You have a story to tell. Who knows? Maybe you'll come on one evening and share your story. It's quite profound. And I helped you change your life. Well, here's how I look at it. Your life did change. I look at it, we were one another's givers and receivers there. I liken it, and I liken our time together, Bill, as mountain climbers. Now, I've never climbed a mountain, but you know how it goes. The climbers are tethered to one another. And at certain points, one climber is up top a bit, and the other climber is, down below. And then eventually the climber who's down below gets up on top, and, the climbers work in tandem to support one another, each taking a turn to be up and to be the supportive partner. And that's how I look at the work that I do with my clients. So, Bill, that's what we did. We were partners in the quest to help you be the best Bill you could be. And I'm honored to have had that experience. People are noticing your dedication. And I think they're having some kind of reaction to it. Janine supports you. Leandra, good evening, Catherine. I'm enjoying your analogy. Thank you, Leandra. We're going to go wide, right, this week? Let me move my device here to see. Dawn, it's a beautiful thing, still, Bill, that your gratitude remains after all these years, and she gets to be grateful. I get to be grateful for your support. That is so true. That is so true. So I hope, before we go to a break, I hope we'll all digest this notion that when we accept and receive, we are actually giving. And it's pretty profound, and it really makes a contribution to others. So with that, let's take a break. When we come back, I'm going to talk about agency. It's one of my favorite words. I'll explain it a little bit and see how we can apply it. And then if there's time, I'll take a question. So stay with me. You're listening to Who Do You Think You Are on New Thought Media Network. Be right back.
Please help us say thank you to our organizational sponsors, including the Hefferland Foundation, Affiliated New Thought Network, International New Thought Alliance, Science of Mind Archives and Library Foundation, Center for Spiritual Living Denver, Center for Spiritual Living Midtown, New Thought Philadelphia, Planned Happiness Institute, Summit Center for Spiritual Living, One Heart Retreats, Center for Spiritual Living on the Lake, Unity Kitchener, Unity Spiritual Center Ottawa, Om Center for Spiritual Living, Satya Center, Begin Within Ministries, Center for Spiritual Living North Jersey, Unity of Savannah, and the Center for Spiritual Living Seattle, as well as all of our individual donors. Thank you for being part of the New Thought Media Network. Please like, share, and subscribe. New Thought Media Network, positively inspiring.
What if the person you think you are is just a fraction of who you truly are? What if years of conditioning and surviving in a challenging world have left you clinging to strategies and beliefs that mask your truest nature? I'm Catherine Duca, psychotherapist and self-esteem coach, and you're listening to Who Do You Think You Are? A show that looks beneath our psychological masks and uncovers our profoundly messy, beautiful, brilliant, tender-hearted essence. Join me as we go in search of the hidden power of our true selves. I'm so glad you're here.
And welcome back. I'm your host, Catherine Duca, and you are listening to Who Do You Think You Are? If you just joined us, we are talking about being a wide receiver and the art and the elegance of allowing. But before I go any further, I did not realize that Still Bill is on a cruise to Hawaii. Janine, no wonder you said dedication. Yeah, I didn't. That was not quite on my screen. Bill, aloha, first of all. I hope you're having a magnificent time. Hawaii, you are several hours, you're behind us, okay, on the East Coast. I hope you're having a magnificent time, and thank you. Thank you so much for joining us, Bill. Okay, I'm going to take a question that I think will lead into me talking about one of my favorite words, which is the term agency. But let me go to a question. Okay, and Just Judy joined us. Hello, Just Judy. I noticed, Catherine, that X as... Judy, I'm not sure what you're saying there. If you want to elaborate while I go to this question. I'm so glad you're here, though. Welcome. We are building a lovely community of self-love builders. Are we not? Self-love, self-respect builders. And now we can add a contingent of wide receivers. All right, wonderful. So here's a question from Allie in Minnesota. This is interesting. I wonder if it's crossed anyone else's mind. Here it is. What if someone is giving me something with strings attached, or with an expectation of something in return? What do I do? How can I navigate those situations? Again, what if someone is giving me something with strings attached, or with an expectation of something in return? What do I do, and how can I navigate these situations? Well, that's a very good question. I'll tell you what occurs to me, Allie. Number one is check yourself. I would say this to anyone with that question. Check yourself to see if you have an automatic response that when someone gives you something, they would want something in return. I say check yourself because if you had anyone in your history, a significant person, a caregiver, a sibling, a teacher, a person in authority in your young life, and you felt that that was the exchange, they gave you something to get something from you, just ask yourself, could you be sort of transferring that onto people in general? Because that's what we do. That's not a crime. It's just part of human nature. So I would ask yourself that first. If you get past that and you say, no, you don't think so, or yes, but you've worked that through and you have reason to believe that someone in your life today is giving you something with strings attached, then I would remind you that sometimes people have other agendas. And this doesn't make them wrong. I'm not indicting anyone. It's human nature to have mixed motivations and agendas that go beyond a giving nature or an altruistic nature. So sometimes because of their history, it's the only way that that person feels they can get something. Perhaps, I've talked to a lot of people over the years who don't feel deserving of asking anyone for anything. They don't want to be indebted, or they feel that if they open up and ask, what if they're rejected? So they kind of come at it through the back door, and that is they give something, maybe overgive, because it's kind of their insurance policy. If they've given you something, then odds are you will give back to them. And that's a way that they do this sort of mental transaction without necessarily exposing their vulnerability. So just create a little room in your mind that people are overwhelmingly not intending to be malicious. But sometimes we as human beings can be manipulative, and we can sort of dip our manipulation in chocolate sometimes. And again, it's just a way of getting needs met. But that may not feel very good to you, Allie. So you have the freedom, you have the agency to decline. You have the agency to decline. Now, let me take a moment and speak about agency, because agency is a big, important term in life. Agency is our ability to make choices in life. Agency is our ability to act independently and to exercise control over our own lives. It's about our own power to decide and to choose and to take action and to shape our own experiences. Therefore, if you feel someone is attaching an expectation, if they give you money, for example, but then expect you to spend the money in a certain way, independent of if you say, may I have a loan, to pay something off, and they give you the money with the expectation that you're going to use that, and then you use it for something else, that could be something to have a conversation about. But if there's no specific nature or reason for the person giving, meaning it hasn't been discussed in advance and the person is giving and there's strings, you're free to say no. Oh, but I would love the money. Oh, I would love the opportunity. Oh, I would love whatever it is. Well, agency dictates that we have the ability to make a choice, and sometimes making the choice and going without the tantalizing or tempting thing, money or opportunity or circumstance, declining might be more in our best interest than accepting. So we can use and exercise our agency and simply decline. Let me see if there's anything else that I want to. Someone's giving, I'm stating the obvious here, but someone's giving should never make us feel obligated or trapped. That's not a good vibration. Now, reciprocity is something else. Reciprocity is cleaner. Reciprocity has a different vibration than I'm giving because I have to, because I feel obliged to give. Reciprocity comes from a desire. I would like to show my thanks. I would like to give you something in return. For all the reasons I mentioned earlier, it makes both of us feel good. But certainly if you feel there's a pull on someone's giving, sometimes it's best, and I have seen this so many times in my career with clients, they have business opportunities. But all the flags are there. Business opportunities with in-laws. They take it because it's a great opportunity, but guess what? They're not really crazy about their in-laws, or the dynamics are problematic. Think about it. Walking into a situation like that, is only going to become more complicated, not less. So, along with the art of receiving is also the art of declining. Thank you, but at this time, I prefer to pass. Thank you. I appreciate the offer, but I think I'm going to take another approach. Thank you. Perhaps we can revisit this at some future time. You can do it nicely, but often if someone traps you, it's because you let yourself be trappable. Boy, I am guilty of that. I misread signals, and I felt flattered, and I felt included. And those were real, what should I call them? Triggers? Those were real seductive things for me back in time. I still have to watch it. Be invited, being included, being made to feel special. I have exhausted myself saying yes to those things because it was really my scarcity talking, my lack of self-esteem at the time talking. Oh, you want me? I mean, cut to the most basic terms. You want me? I'll do anything, even if it's not in my own best interest. So think about that. Part of self-respect is standing in what serves your highest purpose. And by the way, it works both ways. Two-way street. People may say no to your overtures because they don't feel what you're offering serves them. Maybe they're reading you correctly. Maybe you have another agenda, or maybe they're misreading. Either way, they have agency, and they're free to say no, thank you. And it's up to you to then embrace their no, thank you, and understand their right to self-determination. One of the very first terms I learned in graduate school when I went for my MSW, we each have a right to self-determination. We can help one another, support one another, give suggestions, but at the end of the day, no one can breathe for us or think for us. It is up to each of us to live our lives according to how we see fit. And with consciousness and self-awareness, that phrase, what serves us and therefore what we see fit to do, is something we get clearer and clearer on the more we do this deep work and ask ourselves these deep questions. So Allie, I hope this helped. Basically, it's okay to say no. It's okay to feel the pinch of going without that great offer or whatever it was. But, you don't necessarily have to be on the hook to anybody if it doesn't feel right to you. Exercise your agency. So, let's see. I think, let's see, there's a couple of things here. Just Judy, you're back. Okay, good. I noticed, Catherine, that as I get older, I'm more willing to ask for help, such as reaching for an item at the top of the shelf in the grocery store. Yes, I'm only chuckling because, Judy, I know how tall you are, and we're about the same height. And so, yeah, I do that myself. I wonder what it is, because you say since you get older, I wonder what it is that you've had to kind of let go of, whether there was a hang up there or, I know with me, I didn't want to bother anybody. I don't want to feel like I can't take care of myself. I've been known to climb shelves to get the bottle at the top. If you care to, Judy, I'd love to know if you had to let go of anything in your thoughts to be able to ask somebody for help. But I'm glad to hear that. Dawn, good point, Kathy, check oneself. But if there are strings attached, it's not genuine giving. Oh, it's kind of not genuine giving. But I remind you, that may be a person revealing their difficulty and asking for help directly. So you can model for them by saying what you need to say explicitly and directly and kindly. Just like that. Still, Bill, I like how you say that you still have to watch yourself. Yeah, it's so true. Because, we get our wires crossed from our history. We think we know what someone is up to, but we don't. Therefore, I'm probably going to do another show on the art of the question, because so often we make assumptions. We think we know what someone wants. We think we know what someone means. And I know I have been wrong many times about that. I made an assumption, it wasn't correct. We had a conversation, and then I heard from the person what their real motive was, and I had to say, oops, my bad. And so now I've gotten in the habit of saying, I'm not sure if I'm correct or not. Can you help me out with this? I feel this or that, or it looks to me like, can you let me know where you're at with this? Okay, simply checking out rather than going with your assumptions. There's a saying that I love, often wrong, but never in doubt. Sometimes we can be so sure of ourselves without a clue whether we're on target or not. So it's always good to ask. It's always good to ask, listen, do you need me to offer advice, or do you just want me to listen? That can do wonders for a conversation. Do you need my input, or do you just need an ear? Or if you want to share something with someone, you can put that up front. I don't need you to solve anything. I just need you to listen. I just need to feel heard right now. That is a giving and receiving kind of thing. That is a pass that, when completed, can be so lovely. Here's what I need. Do you think you can give that? Yes, I can. No, I can't. Okay. Cleaner communication. Just makes things go better and more smoothly. So checking the chats, I think, just Judy. I had exactly the same experience as you, not wanting to bother anyone and thinking that I could do it myself, even if I had to climb on the shelves. Yeah. How often have we thought we have to do it ourselves? That's our culture. Bootstraps, listen, tough love on the self. We all have those voices in our heads. But as I said last week, better we should hear the voice of a loving kindergarten teacher than the voice of a drill sergeant. Sir, yes, sir. So harsh. So harsh. So self-love cultivators, self-love builders, everything we're talking about here and everything we've been talking about these weeks is about loving and respecting ourselves more. Because if an interesting and fascinating thing happens, the more we respect ourselves more, you know how it goes, the more we automatically respect other people's right to self-determination and other people's agency. And then we can have meaningful, deep conversations. Then we can certainly disagree, share different points of view, but it's done in an atmosphere. This is the most important thing I think I can leave you with tonight. It's the disagreeing, the conversation is done in an atmosphere of mutual respect and curiosity. And it's the atmosphere that means so much. I do a lot of work on getting through difficult conversations, how to have better conversations. And I observe so many times that the conflict is bad enough, but then how we handle the conflict can actually compound the difficulty. It can compound it, or it can minimize the complexity. and we can get on more even, clearer ground with one another. So let's pay attention this week to the atmosphere in which we communicate with one another. Let's go looking for goodness. Okay, because if we look for it, we will find it. We will find it. And that's a promise. Come back and tell me. And if someone gives you something and you feel it's done cleanly, let them know you appreciate it. Let them feel the gratification, the satisfaction that comes from knowing that their overture mattered to you. I think you're going to like the way you feel. So, dear listeners, there you have it for tonight, this February 9th, Super Bowl Sunday. I wish you well in this game of life. I wish you a good week. Let's keep each other in mind, hold these ideas and one another in highest consciousness this week. We are our instruments, right? We're not selling vacuum cleaners. We are our instruments. Let me be an instrument of peace. That's a real thing. Because as we go, as we vibrate, as we bring out the best or the worst in other people, we are contributing to the vibration, not only in our immediate orbit, but in our families, in our communities, and in the world. So, with that, I never want to end. Someone told me that I do this Italian goodbye thing at the end of every show. I get ready to wind down and then I kind of rewind. Well, those of you who know, how Italian Americans or Italians do it, we say long goodbyes. We start an hour before the party ends and we say goodbye, and not one round, not 2 rounds, maybe 3 rounds. So that's what I do. But I will respect everyone's time tonight and say my good wishes to all of you. So I hope to see you back here next week at the same time, and we will have hopefully another interesting, open-hearted conversation. So you've been listening to Who Do You Think You Are on New Thought Media Network. Take care and good night.